Thanks so much for coming. Really appreciate having you all here, and thanks so much to our panelists for also coming. What we've been looking at, how public art can influence the climate change debate, so to speak. One of the things we really want to do today is come up with real scripting language and concepts that college kids in these other communities have as a starter. Because one of the things that I think we found, Marnie and myself, is it's very hard for college students to be given this as an assignment in the fall and to come up with a very impressive performance in the spring. We want to seed the ground for them with all of the deep thinkers that are here today so that we end up with some really strong scripting.
What we're trying to do here today really gets at, I think, one of the more challenging sides of my role at the city, which is finding really engaging and inspiring ways to reach people about this topic that can be so wonky sometimes and also be very scary.
Most members of Congress are learning on the go. I mean, there's just so much, you're just flooded with information. It's overwhelming how much information you get every day. Just tons of stuff. I mean, we get that much in our office every day of reports. We don't even read it, we can't. So I think if you really want to teach politics to people at local, state, and federal level, what you're going to do in the sort of community arts and performance, I think will have more impact on trying to localize the effects of global warming than any kind of reports or movies or anything like that. When you can see what is happening in your own backyard and interpret that. And I think that's the question is, how do we develop those visualizations, those interpretations? But I can't emphasize how important it is to get this launched now. Then the question is, who on the ground is going to care or do something about it? And I think that's the educational process that we have to go through is, okay, we're going to help people who really want to talk about these things on actually doing something in their local community. That chapter, that has not been written. So I do think that what you're trying to do today is a wonderful beginning, and I think a year from now, as you get close to the primaries, it's going to be on the national debate, and wondering, well, what do we really do about it? Because I think that's the challenge: is how do you personalize this? Because it's personalization that affects the way you vote, the way you talk, the way you spend money. And I think that's a challenge, is how do you take a melting piece of ice and turn it into a household word?
Philosophically, the kind of stuff I'm working on is how do we work with our political other to agree on who the experts are on an issue? And that's what we're facing, I think, in the Central Valley. And the way I look at climate change as a threat multiplier. I'm also interested in the issue of the REACT, what I call the REACT, the relatively enlightened person who's concerned about climate change. So if you're relatively enlightened about climate change, what are your ethical responsibilities? In a nutshell, I think your responsibility is to work politically for a political solution at this point. That's what we need. And you should be devoting maybe 10 or 15%, 20% of your free time every week, not to changing light bulbs, but to working on a political solution.